Hi, Justin here, drafting Return to Ravnica once again. This time we're going to try to win, so perhaps the draft will turn out a little differently this time. We're also drafting in a 4-3-2-2 as that was what was filling up at the moment, and we are impatient. The royal we. So, this pack, there are some exciting cards. Rakdos' Return is a mythic rare that's quite powerful, and I am looking to pick that card from this pack. Otherwise, there is a Skymark Rock, which we would also be happy first picking, and Soulsworn Spirit is not bad either. So, well, between Skymark Rock and Rakdos' Return is certainly the card I'd rather play. I like to play mythic rares, so let that be informative for you. So, in this pack, not a whole lot happening. There's a Centaur Healer, Gorehouse Chainwalker, and Izzet Charm among the first tier cards that I'd be looking at to take from this pack. We're certainly not going to take the Centaur Healer after picking Rakdos' Return, so the pick is between the Chainwalker and Izzet Charm. I think Izzet Charm is a little stronger, objectively speaking, but of course if we pick that, then we're either planning to splash Rakdos' Return or the Charm, more likely the Return, or play 3 colors, which I'm not terribly fond of, especially in a deck that needs to be rather aggressive to be successful. So I can take the Charm, or the Chainwalker seems like a little bit safer pick, and I'm going to pick that, even though I'm sort of regretting that as I'm taking it, because Izzet Charm is very good. But we'd rather be in Rakdos if we have the choice. So this third pack is not punishing us for. It wouldn't have punished us for either pick, because the pick is clearly Explosive Impact. Sort of behind that, there's the Rakdos Key Rune, and then nothing else really that I'd be excited about picking at this point. Dagger Drum Imp would be alright. I think I would pick that over the Shred Freak. Shred Freak is not a card that I'm fond of playing if I can help it. And otherwise in this pack, there's not a whole lot going on. There's a Common Bond, which is fine, and a Rootborn Defenses, which would also fit into a Selesnya deck, but otherwise nothing that's really jumping out as too exciting. So hopefully that means that the folks who are passing to us are picking cards in the other colors that we're not playing. Yeah, clearly Thought Flare and Frostburn Weird are in this pack, which I think are the 2 best cards in the pack, pretty clearly. And behind that is Tristani's Judgment, and then some middling and not so middling cards. So I think the pick here is between the Weird and the Thought Flare. Weird, I do like. Of course, these both are better in an Izzet deck. If I'm planning to play Rakdos, I think I'd just rather have the Weird, as it's a very strong creature. With the Rakdos Return, though, Thought Flare, I probably should have taken the Thought Flare there. So there we are. I was trying to say, with the Rakdos' Return, Thought Flare, sort of, we could play a more controlling strategy and use the Return as a finisher. In a more traditional Rakdos deck, I would be as excited as playing Thought Flare there. So in this pack, again, nothing terribly exciting. There's a Jailbreaker, a Skywatch, a Hussar Patrol, and then for us, I think the pick is between, well, with the Frostburn Weird, I think the Guildgate or the Inaction Injunction. Of course, if we had taken the Thought Flare, then the Guildgate would have been an easy pick. And it looks like that's how things are shaping up. Izzet seems to be open. In fact, I think the best cards that are available are Izzet cards. So I'm going to take the Electromancer. And again, regret not having taken the Thought Flare there. Although I can't be upset about having a Frostburn Weird, so that's fine too. So in this pack, there's a Fairy Imposter, an Action Injunction, and then I think on the second tier, Trader's Instinct. And then a bunch of other cards which are passable, but nothing that we're really looking to fit into our deck. So I'm going to take the Imposter. I like to take it, like this card is good early. You can prioritize, say, Void Wielders. Wow, which I didn't expect to see in this pack, but that is a delicious combination. And some other, if you have detained cards, such as the Soulsworn Spirit, Imposter is very good with those too. So you can prioritize taking those, knowing you have an Imposter to bounce it back. Here I'm going to take the Labra Crew. That seems fine over the Keyrune, which is not terribly exciting. And the Izzet Charm tabled! Wowza! So everything's coming up Justin today. That is surprising. So we're clearly in the right colors. I don't think that Thought Flare is going to come around. I think it was in the next pack and not this pack, but perhaps my memory is not serving me either. So a lot of decent cards in this pack. I think I'm going to take the Instinct here. It's nice to have one of those. And here it's between Dynacharge is a card I'm not thrilled about playing unless I have a Goblin Rally, in which case it comes up. Mizium Skin. I feel like, wow, Hussar Patrol is late too. So I think those cards are commensurate in their value, but I'm not usually looking to run either of them. So we have we picked up some reasonable cards the last few picks. So this pack, considering we're pretty clearly in Izzet at this point. All our best card. I mean, we have an Izzet Charm. Frostburn Weird could be a splash, but Rakdos isn't really shaping up, and we're not going to be moving into Azorius either. So with that as a given, in this pack, I think the picks between Pursuit of Flight, Vassal Soul, and Tower Drake, Tenement Crasher, I wouldn't mind having one 6-drop in this deck, but I'm not going to pick that now. So Vassal Soul with the double blue is a little rough, but I think I would still pick it over the Tower Drake. But I think I'm just going to take the Pursuit of Flight here and try to go aggressive. If I can get... I'm still intending to splash this Rakdos' Return, and if I can get, say, a Teleportal or a Blustered Squall and build a more aggressive Izzet deck, then the Pursuit of Flight fits right in there. We can put it on a Cobble Brood or perhaps a Splatter Thug, although we haven't seen any in this draft. So this pick, pretty easily Thought Flare. I would like to take this Rakdos Guildgate. There's a chance it could table, but the Thought Flare is just too much better to try to take the mana fixing at this point. So in this pack, there's nothing terribly exciting for us outside of Explosive Impact number 2. I'm sorry, the sun is now shining through my curtain, which is making it very difficult to see my pick, so I'm probably going to have to adjust that in a moment. But so it's Impact or Asperia Skywatch, as I said. I wouldn't mind having a 6-drop. I mean, Impact does count as a 6-drop since it costs 6. You can't really be too picky about whether your 6 casting cost spells or creatures are spells, but Impact is just too good. And we have the makings of a pretty effective burn deck at this point, with 10 points of damage here and Rakdos' Return plus Labra Crew. So it wouldn't be terrible to have a more defensive, to build a more defensive Izzet deck here, though I don't prefer to play that strategy in Izzet, but you know, Lobber Crews, Void Wielders, and Burn isn't a terrible strategy. So here, nothing I'm thrilled with. Outside of our colors, there's a Keyrune, Brustrider. It doesn't look like we're passing anything there's a Swift Justice as well, but it doesn't look like we're getting punished for being in, you know, we're not in the wrong colors. And there's that teleportal we were hoping for, so we are being rewarded for being in red-blue, I think, as it's the best card in the pack by far. There's a Hussar Patrol, Conjured Currency, which I haven't played with yet. I've played a lot of drafts. I haven't played with Currency, but I would like to give it a shot at some point. But Teleportal is just too good to pass up at this point. So this pack, there's a Centaur's Herald, which is pretty late. And other than that, Avenging Arrow, Launch Party, both reasonable cards to be picking at this point if we were in different colors. Golgari Charm, also not unplayable, not my favorite main deck card. Guildgate, Foil Mountain, it appears. I'm going to pick up the Tenement Crasher and see where we can go with him. So this pack, for our consideration, we're not going to take a second Crasher. There's a Syncopate or a Rakdos Cackler. As I said, it looks like we're sort of sliding into a more defensive build with these higher drops, the 2 impacts, a Thought Flare. So I'm sort of torn between taking the Cackler, which is more aggressive, better with Teleportal, and Syncopate, which is just a solid card. Cackler I don't want to have in a defensive deck. Syncopate I don't want to have as much in an aggressive deck. I'm going to take the Cackler and then we'll later review whether or not that was a good pick or not. So in here, like, if I'm trying to extend the game to where I can make use of my more expensive spells, I might take a Doorkeeper here. As it stands, we already have 1 Chemister's Trick. I'm going to take the Downsize. And that's a late Jailbreaker. I think I'm just going to take that. I don't really care too much about that Street Sweeper. Hey, we have the currency, so we can play that too. So maybe the slower, more defensive deck is the order of the day. I'm going to go close that curtain so you can watch me do that while the next thing comes out. What card would you choose?